Good morning. I'm Carrie Hawkins, and I'm a founding board member of Century Housing Corporation. And on behalf of Century Housing and my fellow board members, I welcome you to the Villages of Cabrillo. It is such an honor to be here this morning to celebrate the grand opening of Anchor Place. This beautiful building will provide 120 homes for deserving veterans and families. It will also provide common areas, fitness rooms, gardens, and great places where all 1,500 of our residents where they can enjoy life. The next month, we celebrate the 20th anniversary, next month, the 20th anniversary of our involvement with the Villages of Cabrillo. And for those of you who aren't familiar, or this is your first time here, you cannot believe the transformation that has taken place. From dilapidated buildings and totally destroyed infrastructure, we now have this beautiful community for people to live and enjoy life. It's taken hard work and a commitment from a lot of people. And so today, I'd like to thank those partners. Our elected officials, Mayor Robert Garcia, Council Member Uranga, financial partners, Wells Fargo, CCRC, and the Federal Home Loan Bank, and the Long Beach Community Investment Company. Service provider and subsidy partners, the city's multi-center service center, and the Long Beach Housing Authority and the Veterans Administration. Our public agency partners, the City of Long Beach, the County of Los Angeles, and the State of California. And our private foundation partners, Home Depot Foundation, the Amundsen Foundation, and the 11th Hour Foundation. In addition, I would like to acknowledge two of my fellow board members who are here today, Louise Oliver and Tina Olson. And along with that, I would like to acknowledge our incredible CEO of Century Housing and his amazing staff. Now, let's give the whole group another round of applause. They've done such amazing work, as you can see. Today coincides with Veterans Day, and how fitting. Here we are at a former Navy base that has become Villages of Cabrillo, home to 600 veterans. And right here in front of Anchor Place, which is going to now provide 75 deserving veteran households a safe and wonderful place to live. Please also join me at this time to acknowledge Bill Brennan, our longtime board member who passed away this week. He served so well, and he fought the great fight, and we will truly, truly miss him. I would also like to acknowledge someone else, Judge Harry Pragerson, who can't be here with us today, but he too is a highly decorated Marine veteran from World War II, and his foresight and inspiration is what got this whole thing rolling in 1995. And so we are sorry that he can't be here today, but let's acknowledge all of the people that I've mentioned, veterans, at this time. Now, we know that there is a housing shortage in California, which affects tens of millions of people. And that's why I'm so proud to be a board member with Century Housing. Right from the beginning, in 1995, we began our mission, and that was to provide safe and affordable housing for those in need. But there's no place. We have, let me just say, we have invested $1 billion and have created 25,000 homes. But none is more dear to our hearts than the villages of Cabrillo. But this could not have been done by ourselves alone. We needed partners, and that's why we're here today, to thank you. And we're so grateful for all of you. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Brian and DeAndrea to come forward. He is the Senior Vice President at Century Housing and the President of the Villages of Cabrillo. He's the one who makes it all happen. Brian.
I play a very small role, Carrie. It's the team that actually makes this place tick. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. What a special moment this is. Today marks the completion of a more than 4-year journey, during which a tremendous amount of energy and creativity, hard work, sweat, pride, love, some tears have been invested into creating this beautiful place. Looking around, I see so many friends and family members, colleagues, coworkers, stakeholders, people that have played incredibly important roles in delivering these 120 homes. Today's our opportunity to acknowledge your efforts, express our sincere gratitude, and despite some of the unavoidably grim news that surrounds us, today we celebrate the hope and healing and respite that these homes represent for our newest residents, some of whom are with us today. Now, you might be wondering about the name of our development. Please allow me to share a quick story about an old anchor that's been beautifully written by our very own Steve Coleman. In 2001, a massive anchor from an unknown ship at the Long Beach Port Salvage Yard was dropped onto a lawn at Century Villages at Cabrillo. Over the ensuing years, the anchor sat vigil as the villages blossomed, tying us to our roots as naval housing during the shipbuilding boom of an earlier era. Some believed the anchor was watching over the people of the villages, providing safe harbor to those in need. Anchors traditionally stabilize ships in their home ports and during storms, and thus they give hope to those who are protected by them. This anchor has come to symbolize the safety provided by the villages to families tossed about by the ill-fated winds of unemployment, homelessness, and hunger. The anchor is a tangible reminder that even the harshest storms eventually pass, calm seas return, and travelers can resume their journey. It's quite beautiful. Thank you, Steve, for writing that. And so, in recognition of our deep connection to that symbol, we've decided to name this place Anchor Place, our newest development that represents safe harbor and hope and a brighter tomorrow for our residents and the journeys that will continue. Well, unlike an anchor that's a relatively simple tool, the creation of this anchor was an incredibly complex undertaking that involved more than a dozen funding sources and scores of partners, vendors, contractors, you name it. And naturally, the complexity of this place matches the complexity of the villages. Many partners, diverse populations, public support that ranges from the local to the federal, In a lot of ways, our job as developer is to harness all of these resources, marry them together to implement public policy and deliver on our mission as a nonprofit organization. And I want to say that although we love real estate and we love building, we love development, it really is just a means to some very important ends. And among the very important public policy goals that Anchor Place will deliver, I want to just take a moment to mention a few. First, the 75 apartment homes set aside for homeless veterans, which are supported with the VASH voucher from the City of Long Beach Housing Authority and through case management from the VA, Anchor Place will move the city that much closer to rooting out veteran homelessness. Second, we've set aside 18 homes for individuals experiencing homelessness that are frequent users of our county health system. The capital and vouchers required to support these households will significantly reduce healthcare costs to the county and, more importantly, improve the health of our residents. And finally, by investing in transit infrastructure along River Avenue here to the west, with bus service slated to start in early 2018, this development will provide for improved connectivity of our campus while also helping to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and address climate change. So just think about that for a moment. One development is going to help end homelessness amongst our veterans, reduce healthcare costs, improve health outcomes, address climate change, and that doesn't even contemplate the economic impact benefits of a development like this, nor the effects that affordable housing has on the education of our youth. And so it is with that kind of ability to impact a community, it really is no wonder that this industry attracts some of the best and brightest. And it's on that note that I want to take a brief moment to acknowledge the recent loss of two of our best and brightest. Some of you might have known Natalie Gubb. She's an attorney who worked on many transactions, both for us and many of our peers around the state. Back in the day, she helped establish the tax credit industry in California and had a truly epic career. We're sorely going to miss Natalie, her thick Boston accent, her sense of humor, her ability to tell it like it is, and her brilliant real estate mind. And recently, we lost our colleague and hero at Century, Tim O'Connell. Tim was the consummate advocate for our industry, a legend. He taught us all so much. His incredible mind, his encyclopedic knowledge, his renowned storytelling was only rivaled by his big heart and his genuine compassion for helping others. Tim really wanted to be here today, and so today's celebration honors their work and commemorates their lives. Now, I'd like to say a few words about the place where we find this place, this Anchor Place. That place is no other than the City of Long Beach, which serves as the ultimate backbone for our work here at the Villages. So many cities throughout the county and the state struggle with homelessness. It's incredibly difficult work. It's taxing. At times it can be demoralizing. But here locally in Long Beach, our city leaders and staff have developed a coordinated and compassionate and an effective system of care. And that system is producing results and making a difference. Over the past couple years, the city has succeeded in reducing homelessness by 21%. That fact alone has earned the city recognition by our White House. And it's pretty remarkable when you consider what's happening around the rest of Los Angeles County. Clearly, work like that does not happen on its own. I want to thank some of our many friends at the city that have worked with us to bring about this special day. Pat West, our city manager, Amy Bodek, head of development services, Allison King, head of our local housing authority, Patrick Uri and Megan Sorensen from Housing and Community Improvement, Jacqueline and Jonathan from Development Services, Anita, Monica, and Linda from Planning, and of course, Teresa, Elsa, and Shannon from the Health and Human Services Department, along with all of our friends at the Building Department, including Ty, Arturo, Trong, David, and many, many others across both the Building Department and all the other city departments that have had a hand in this. So on behalf of the Century family, thank you so much to our friends at the city. We really do hope that you feel a sense of pride in what's been created here. I want to take a moment to acknowledge a few other people that you're not going to hear from today, but were truly instrumental in delivering on today's celebration and the homes that have been created. Our friends at CCRC, who are providing the permanent financing for the development, including Mary Kaiser, Mark Rasmussen, and Mark Niles. Jim Yasenda and his team at the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco that have provided AHP financing. Our friends at Long Beach Transit, including Lee, Paul, Shirley, Danny, Chris, and Bill. Brian Lushevsky from City Fabric, who worked with us early on in developing the transit hub concept. Deanna Bly from CHPC, our financial consultant. Our architect, Richard Prentice, and his team that are the true artists behind this masterpiece here. Our civil engineers from KPFF, including Jose and Casey. Our interior design team from Collaborative House, including Suzanne, Robert, and Debbie. Walker and Krista from Global Green, our Green Raiders. Tom Gibson, Blake, Dave, Richard, Dusty, and Jason from Walton Construction, who built this amazing place from scratch when it was a site with a bunch of crumbling buildings and dilapidated infrastructure. And of course, they brought together an incredible team of subcontractors. And lastly, our friends at the Home Depot Foundation and the 11th Hour Foundation. So please join me in acknowledging the contributions of all those partners. So many people to thank in so little time, so forgive me. I have a few other introductions or recognitions I want to make before moving on, so please hold your applause until the end. I want to acknowledge the presence of our Councilwoman Janine Pierce from the 2nd District, the City of Long Beach. Brenda Baker, District Representative for our State Senator, Stephen Bradford. Brenda Koloka, representing the Office of Supervisor Janice Hahn of the county's 4th Supervisorial District, is here with us today. Dr. Swaley Sorrow from the Office of State Senator Ricardo Lara is with us. Terry Geiling, President and CEO of the American Gold Star Manor. Steve Peck, President and CEO of U.S. Vets, is with us this morning. Dr. Lisa Nicholas, President and CEO of the Children's Clinic, one of our newest partners here at the Villages. And Neil Gaffney, Chair of the Veteran Affairs Commission with the City of Hawthorne. Thank you to all of you for joining us today. Now, the city leadership that I described a little earlier really does start at the top. And so this morning, I'm pleased to introduce Mayor Robert Garcia. Mayor Garcia was elected in 2014 after serving for 5 years on the council. He's brought a progressive and vibrant vision to our state, to one of our state's largest cities, in a city that's actually bigger than Atlanta, Minneapolis, Miami, and New Orleans. Pretty impressive when you think about it. Over his short 3-year tenure, Mayor Garcia has set in motion some important initiatives that are generating impressive results. Unemployment has recently hit an all-time low of 4.4% in our city. Homelessness has decreased by 21% over the past several years, as I mentioned earlier. The city recently has embarked on an infrastructure investment plan that will generate nearly $400 million of investment throughout our city. The Long Beach College Promise, an internship program, means more opportunities for our local students, and thousands of housing units have either been recently completed, entitled, or are under construction. And on that note, I want to thank the mayor for his leadership on this important issue. The council recently received and filed a study that outlines a progressive set of 29 recommendations to address our local housing challenges. And we deeply appreciate the mayor's support on this issue and look forward to our continued work with him. So please join me in welcoming our mayor, the Honorable Robert Garcia.
Hey, thank you. Congratulations. Well, thank you. And listen, I think Brian is an absolute godsend to us here. He is obviously not just a great leader here, but also has done so much for the city and volunteers so much of his time on so many organizations and so many task forces. So Brian, just thank you for all your just amazing service and work, and let's give him a big round of applause again. I'm obviously just incredibly honored just to be representing the city of Long Beach here today. Anchor Place, and as you can see it, it's with a lot of pride that we as a city have invested some significant dollars into ensuring that this project could be built and completed. It was worth, obviously, every penny that the city has put in to ensure that we have this great space for our veterans and for our families that are experiencing homelessness. The other thing that I think gives me a lot of pride when looking and walking through Anchor Place is this is a project and a development that could exist anywhere in the city of Long Beach. It's quality housing, it's supportive housing, it has an architecture that any neighborhood could be proud to showcase, and the fact that we treat and respect our our veterans and folks that are experiencing homelessness with the quality level of this project, I think says a lot about everyone involved in this project, but also about how we view and should treat people that are experiencing homelessness. And so it's a very beautiful project. And let's give Century and all of the partners a big round of applause for this amazing facility. We know in Long Beach that solving the challenge of homelessness and certainly solving the challenge to ensure that veterans have the dignity and respect of the sacrifice that they made to us and to our country is a community effort. And so there's so many partners. I think Brian and other folks will be mentioning them throughout the program today, but I just want to, of course, thank each of you individually. Our entire city team was just thanked also by Brian, starting with Amy, all the way down through the organization. So I want to thank them again for their hard work. And I'm really hopeful that we can continue to support projects like this. This will absolutely help us with our goals to ensure that we are housing our veterans experiencing homelessness as well as other families in our community. We have a responsibility, not just in Long Beach, but across the state of California, to deal with our crisis around homelessness and around people that are looking for quality homes. And we are proud in Long Beach to have this incredible facility and hope and will continue to support its growth. Long Beach views our partnership with Century as one of our most important partnerships. It's this incredible public and private and so many organizations partnership that it really is a model, I think, across the United States. And in fact, we hear about the villages anytime we go to DC or we're talking about issues around veteran issues, or particularly around issues around homelessness, people are talking about this amazing facility. And so again, I'm just here to say thank you to the Century team on behalf of the city. I know there's other folks that will be sharing some other words, but I'm just happy to be here and very proud of this new project here. So thank you and go Long Beach. Have a good day. And thank you for this. These are, I guess some folks are getting these very beautiful, so thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I now have the honor of introducing our council member here in the 7th District on the west side of Long Beach, Roberto Uranga. Councilmember Uranga is a proud resident and staunch advocate of the 7th. He brings a unique sensitivity to our work here at the Long Beach, having worked for more than 28 years in the city's Health and Human Services Department. He's also served for many years on the Long Beach Community College Board of Trustees and presently represents the South Coast on California's Coastal Commission, which is an incredibly important appointment. We truly appreciate the council members' support for our work here at the villages and are very pleased to welcome him back. So please join me now in welcoming council member Roberto Uranga to the stage.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Isn't this a beautiful Long Beach day today? Isn't this? Come on, hey, give the weather a hand. You know, when I got here, I had my staff person give me a whole bunch of notes to say and stuff, but, you know, Brian and the mayor have done such a good job. I said, everything's said and done. Why should I say more other than thank you? Long Beach is very proud to have this facility here, and I am especially proud that it stands in the West Long Beach area, because West Long Beach, as you know, stands as an island. If any of those bridges that you see that you cross to get here were to go down at one time, it would be isolated. But there would be a gem in West Long Beach, and that would be Villages at Cabrillo. So I want to thank the development team of Villages at Cabrillo for being here, for investing in our community, especially in West Long Beach. I want to thank the Long Beach Capital Investment Company for your support, your endorsement. I know you contributed quite a bit of funds to make this project happen. And of course, I want to thank the city team and the mayor for being here and for their support and all the work that they put into making sure that this development gets built. One of the things that I will say, however, is that the transportation element that Brian mentioned is big. It's huge for Long Beach. It also incorporates the greater community of Long Beach. It makes that connectivity between West Long Beach and the remainder of Long Beach. So I want to also thank Long Beach Transit for their assistance in making sure that this connectivity continues and maintains, and that they're able to serve the community of not only West Long Beach, but the tenants at Villages of Cabrillo, and connecting them with the rest of Long Beach. I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you for your commitment. You're taking a part of your day to be here today to acknowledge this, and I look forward to some ribbon cutting. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Ballor, and I serve as a development associate on Century Housing's development team under the leadership of Brian D'Andrea and Oscar Alvarado. In his last public speech, Hubert Humphrey, our country's former vice president under Lyndon B. Johnson, expressed the following: "The moral test of government is how that government treats those who are in the dawn of life, the children, those who are in the twilight of life, the elderly, and those who are in the shadows of life, the sick, the needy, and the handicapped." Century Housing's partnership with Long Beach has repeatedly proven that the city's commitment to moral excellence is second to none. Anchor Place just happens to be yet another example of the City of Long Beach's commitment to deploying financial resources for the betterment of our society's most vulnerable. Our next speaker is John Thomas, Chair of the Long Beach Community Investment Company. In the wake of the dissolution of the redevelopment agencies, John Thomas's leadership has allowed for critical local resources to be invested into developing affordable housing in Long Beach. Local jurisdictions are usually the first to commit funds to an affordable housing project, making the initial investment that allows us to leverage other public and private resources. The city's support of Anchor Place has come in many forms, not the least of which is the investment of $4 million of new capital. As always, we are thankful for the city's continued support of our mission. Please welcome John Thomas.
Well, thank you, Sean. It's wonderful to be here today. And you spoke of the opportunity for the Long Beach Community Investment Company to share our limited financial resources with great projects. This is yet another project, Anchor Place, that demonstrates the efforts of the city, public-private partnerships, we've heard about transit today, pulling together to serve our most vulnerable population, and that's our vets. It's indeed a pleasure on behalf of the board to represent the board and speak of the $4 million, slightly over $4 million, that we pledged in a loan for this project. But I also want to take a minute and just call out and ask the hardworking staff of the Development Services Department. That would include Amy Bodak, Patrick, the hardworking folks from Building and Safety. I see planning in the audience. Would you just kindly stand, please, and be acknowledged by the audience, please? Come on, you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. It really is a team effort. We've talked about financing, we've talked about leveraging resources, but once a project to this magnitude gets to City Hall, it really has to have the chosen collective care of these hardworking men and women that don't often get called out. So I want to thank them very much. Again, on behalf of the board, it's a pleasure to be here. These are beautiful, vital days, not only for the city of Long Beach, but again, for our veterans community. Thank you so much, and enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you, John. I'd also like to take a brief moment to acknowledge the presence of Paige Polonis, Communications Director for our State Assemblyman Patrick O'Donnell from the 70th State Assembly District. Thank you for being here, Paige. I'm now pleased to introduce Walt Dannenberg, Director of the VA Long Beach Healthcare System. The proximity and engagement of our local VA is one of the reasons Long Beach has been so effective at reducing veteran homelessness. We at Century are so proud to count on the Long Beach VA as a longtime partner here at the Villages, where they operate both a treatment program as well as an outpatient health clinic that will ultimately serve our more than 600 veterans that call the Villages home. Walt stepped into this position almost a year ago after previously serving as Associate Director of the Palo Alto VA for the past 3 years. His job is enormous, overseeing a hospital system with more than a $500 million operating budget, more than 2,200 employees, and a system that delivers health care to more than 50,000 veterans on an annual basis. Walt is supported by a great team here at the Villages that includes Jessie D'Agostino, who has a long history here, having spent part of her distinguished VA career right here at the VBRC, and surely remembers when this site was fenced off and filled with abandoned and crumbling buildings. We're so fortunate to count on Walt's leadership and engagement and welcome him back to the Villages.
Well, good morning. It's such an honor and a privilege to be here at the Villages of Cabrillo, and while I was seeing the band come in and just the real festivities and celebration of why we're here today, I have been across the country to many different VAs, and I can honestly tell you in different communities that I have never seen a campus such as this that offers so much resources and hope for not only the community at large, but also for our specific veterans. And while I'm here today, I want to give special thanks to a few important individuals, the City of Long Beach Healthcare Department for their efforts in helping make this come true, Mayor Garcia for his support of the Villages of Cabrillo, and also Councilmember Robert Uringa, the donors and the various community partners that really helped us not only be here today, but to make this such an amazing success. As you have heard earlier, Anchor Place offers a place to live and to have hope for bringing into our veterans so that they can have a chance at that American dream and pursuing their pursuits, whether it's professional or personal. And I'm proud to say that of the 75 HUD-VASH vouchers, that 65 of those we have identified 65 veterans already that are ready to move in or already in the process of moving in. So special thanks to the HUD-VASH team at the VA in Long Beach, and then also for the staff of Villages of Cabrillo for making such dreams a possibility. So a round of applause. So I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to talk a little bit about VA and some of the priorities moving forward. The Secretary, Dr. David Shulkin, has made it clear that he intends to expand choice for our veterans, whether you can get your care at your local VA or out in the private community, and really making it a choice for where our veterans get their health care. He also is adamant, and I'm adamant as well, about supporting access to care. If you're a person in need, whether it's for a physical ailment, mental health condition, or even homeless services, that you have the access to the care and the resources when you want them, where you want them, and when you need them. We also are looking at modernizing our VA healthcare system. We have a new electronic patient medical record that is scheduled to start here within the next year or so. Cerner will be that off-the-shelf version that will be adaptable to our needs and really help make a seamless transition for active duty members to becoming veterans, and looking forward to that modernization. We're also looking at modernizing our facilities at VA Long Beach and expanding the number of private rooms. If you've had the opportunity to visit Long Beach or actually stay in Long Beach, you will know that sometimes, more than not, you have the opportunity to have a roommate, and sometimes there's discussions about which TV channel you're watching, or a little bit too much conversation going on with family member and friends. So we hope to eliminate that and make it a much more enjoyable private experience for our veterans in the future. And last but not least, one of the major priorities for VA is ending veteran suicide. And so I'm going to do a little bit of an interactive exercise here with you all, and just to share a little bit about some of the statistics. So you may have heard a large study that occurred several years ago in regards to the number of veterans that are committing suicide. That number is nearly 20 a day. Multiply that times 365 days a year. That is way too many. And I would argue and submit to you that one suicide is way too many. So in today's world of multimedia, social media, and technology, I know almost everyone here has a cell phone, right? Nod of heads, yes. Everybody have a cell phone? All right, this is the interactive part. So if you could, pull out your cell phone. And I want to make a resource available to you as members of the community. If you have a family member, a friend that's a veteran, or anyone that's in crisis, the VA is here to help. But I want to make available to you the phone number for the VA crisis line. So if you want to open up your cell phone to contacts and give you a second to pull up, add new contact, create new contact, and give you just a couple more seconds, and I'll repeat this number. If you could punch in, and this is for the Suicide Prevention Crisis Hotline, that's 1-800-273-8255. And I'll repeat that number here again in a second for the Suicide Prevention Crisis Hotline. As you know, you may never know when or where, but when you reach that instance and you encounter someone that's in crisis, having that number available to you and ready to use can truly save a life. And when I look at the numbers of suicides across the country, 20 a day, only 6 of those veterans are receiving health care by the VA. So that's 14 out of the 20 on a daily basis who don't have the resources for whatever reason, receiving care through the VA, which tells me this isn't just a VA problem, this isn't a DOD problem, this is a community problem, and I'm here to arm you with the resource that could help you potentially save a life. So one more time, that number is 1-800-273-8255. And if you're into social media, the VA has a blitz on suicide prevention, and that is #BeThere. Again, that's #BeThere if you want to look into the available resources for combating suicide prevention, or combating suicides. I also just want to kind of circle back with the villages of Cabrillo, and again, there is no other place in the country that I'm aware with the resources and partnerships that have come together to build such an amazing resource. So for our veterans, whether it's substance abuse, mental health challenges, or just falling on hard times, it's amazing and a blessing to have this resource available here in our backyard in VA Long Beach. And with that, I am eternally grateful and consider ourselves to be truly blessed to be here in the city of Long Beach. So without further ado, I just want to say thank you and congratulations to all of you that helped make today possible in the villages of Cabrillo a success. So thank you.
I'm a little bit shorter, even with heels. So, good afternoon. My name is Kimberly Crawford-Wee. I am the Director of Residential Services here at Century Villages at Cabrillo. You all have probably seen my face many times because Brian likes to turn around these developments very fast. So I was just here, it seems like yesterday, with Cabrillo Gateway, and here we are with Anchor Place. So, and I was just thinking about my team and how we've grown, and what the Oasis Residential Services Department provides is all the supportive services for our clients that are at Cabrillo Gateway and now Anchor Place, and also a lot of the community events that you see. And we have a very intense youth and family services program as well, including after-school program. And what started as a little bungalow on the other side of campus with just 1 or 2 staff has now grown into a full baseball team. I have 9 players now, and so we have a very thriving supportive services team ready to support all of our residents at Cabrillo Gateway and here at Anchor Place. So I'm really pleased to be here and to celebrate our newest development. Of course, you know, we can't do it without all of our partners, as everyone has said before me. And many of the partners come together early on to develop the concept and the building and the financing and the subsidies and all of those things. And then later on, when my team and some of our other partners get involved, it's really about the next step. Okay, we're going to have a building. How do we get the residents in there? How do we find the most vulnerable people and ensure that the permanent supportive housing units, households, are being served? So what we do is we work with lots of partners from the beginning. This has been over over a year, almost 2 years of really determining how are we going to find those homeless individuals and make sure that they have a home when the building opens. And so we have worked with the City of Long Beach, we have worked with the VA and all of our partners in the city to ensure that the City of Long Beach's most vulnerable are going to be in a home this month. I can guarantee that by the end of November. And so City of Long Beach, of course, is our longtime partner, both early on in the coordination of services and ensuring that we have the individuals to house with the multi-service center team, the veteran registry, Shannon Parker, Elsa Ramos, and all of the partners there have been instrumental in ensuring that we have clients, and they've done all of the assessments and ensured that they had everything they need to get here. And then once they have those client lists, then the Housing Authority steps in and helps with the vouchers and the subsidies and all of the paperwork and all of the steps that go into that is happening behind the scenes so that when the veteran or the family is ready to move in, then they have everything they need to be here. And so overseeing all of those departments and all of that coordination is our champion for collective impact, and our longtime partner and friend here at the Villages of Cabrillo, Kelly Calabi. So I'd like to bring up Kelly, the Director of Health and Human Services for the City of Long Beach, to talk to us about all of those partnerships and that collaboration and all of the things that happen behind the scenes to ensure that all of our veterans and families are housed. So please help me welcome Kelly Calabi.
Okay, she's even taller than I am. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited to be here to celebrate with you the grand opening of this beautiful home, Anchor Place. We know that housing is the necessary base for the possibilities of health, wellness, and opportunities to thrive. And Anchor Place provides that opportunity for 120 individual and families experiencing homelessness, including 75 veterans. Folks started moving in a couple of weeks ago, and they're now calling this place home. They're already there. They're watching us now. I stand here representing an incredible collaborative effort of service providers. I want to take a couple minutes to share with you how this collaborative works and the work that is undertaken by the Veteran Service Collaborative Partners to ensure we have veterans who are ready to move in and are supported in living here for the future. First of all, the Veteran Service Collaborative Partners include the Department of Health and Human Services Homeless Services Division, the Multi-Service Center, and our Housing Authority, Mental Health America's Operation Healthy Homecoming, U.S. Veterans Initiative, 1736 Family Crisis Center, and the Long Beach Veterans Administration. There are a lot of folks here who represent all of those organizations, and I'd like to say thank you and give them a cheer. So early on, the Housing Authority provided 75 VASH project-based vouchers to ensure the ongoing support for these units. And then over the last 6 months to a year, the Veteran Service Collaborative and Century Villages team have focused on prioritizing the highly impacted veterans who are living on the streets and in transitional housing. These veterans are selected from a veteran registry, which includes all veterans experiencing homelessness in Long Beach. All the partners work to ensure that the most vulnerable of those lists have the opportunity to live in Anchor Place. The city then hosted application training sessions for staff and a one-day boot camp for veterans to assist in the application process, and the Multi-Service Center served as a hub to support our partners and to collect the applications. Through these steps, the Long Beach Coordinated Entry System for Veterans submitted 91 referrals for the 75 units here at Anchor Place, and you've heard 65 are already getting ready to move in. Now the partner agencies are working with the VA, Century Villages, and the city to provide move-in assistance, so to make sure there's furniture and materials and everything one needs to live, as well as providing case management services into the future to ensure that those veterans who are living here in Anchor Place retain their housing and thrive in our community. This is truly an exciting time for Long Beach. Thank you.
we've probably used the word partner about 100 times already, but it's very important that I say that there is another very important partner in the Anchor Place development and on-site here. And the Department of Mental Health has been a longtime partner here at the Villages at Cabrillo, not just with Anchor Place, but with some of our other developments with the Family Commons and with Cabrillo Gateway. And Renee Turner and her team at the LA Department of Mental Health has been instrumental in ensuring that the mental health needs of our residents are met. And so we have a great partner with the Department of Mental Health. And as we've talked about many times, our residents are coming in with lots of barriers, and we want to ensure that those barriers and their needs are being met and that they can be successful in permanent supportive housing. And providing mental health services is crucial in that. And so I'd like to invite Kim Sasaki, the manager for our Service Area 8, County of Los Angeles, Department of Mental Health, to come talk about this wonderful partnership we have. We definitely could not do it without the MH's team and their commitment to the mental health needs. Please help me welcome Kim Sasaki.
Okay, so I guess I'm about Kelly's size, I guess. Good morning or good afternoon. I want to be very brief, but I'm very happy to be here on behalf of Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health to congratulate the grand opening of Anchor Place today and thank Century Villages of Cabrillo for making another valuable supportive housing project like this one possible. Our department truly values the partnership, another partnership language here, we have had with the Century Villages over the past several years to be part of your vision of breaking the cycle of homelessness and working with us together on providing some of our clients with the mental health issues, obtaining permanent housing here on campus. So we thank you, look forward to continue collaborating with you as a partner on future projects beyond Anchor Place. Thank you.
As you know, the reason we are here is not because of all of the partners and the subsidies and the financing and the process and the building. The reason we're here is to talk about the 120 formerly homeless households that are now going to be able to call this beautiful building home. And over the last few weeks, we've quickly moved in over 50 residents so far into the building, and we are so pleased to watch as they move into their new homes. My team and I have had the opportunity to meet with many of those residents. My team's probably met with all of them. I've met with a few, and we've got to hear about their journey and the process and their life before Anchor Place, their life before they found that outreach worker or that case manager or that one person that connected them with the resources to be here. It's wonderful to hear about all of that past and where it's culminating to. And I think one of the things that struck me when talking with some of our residents is the feeling of peace and just being able to relax for a minute, to have the peace of mind where they can feel safe, feel comfortable, they can enjoy their home, they can make dinner in their own place. And I've heard of many people say, and do you know what it's like to just be able to sit on the couch and watch TV? And it's something that we all take for granted, but when you hear their stories and their journey, you realize that just being able to go behind closed door and relax without fear is really the reason that we're all here. And it's wonderful to hear their stories. And I'm not going to try to do justice to all of their stories, and so we've asked some of our new Anchor Place residents to join us. Please help me welcome Hank and Kathy Elens. They are newest residents here. They've been here about 2 weeks at Anchor Place, and I would love for them to tell you their story and their impression of the new building. So Hank and Kathy, please.
Well, good afternoon. I'm one of the residents here with my wife Kathy. Moved in about 2 weeks ago and did not know what, excuse me, what to expect. Come to find out, this is a fantastic place to live. The help that you get from the staff over here is unsurpassed. The only way I'm ever going to leave here is be in a body bag, because I'm staying. That's about all I can say. Do you want to say anything, Kathy?
Hello, my mate's wife. I enjoy living here. It's fun living here. It's great to live here. God bless.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Leslie Milovich, Executive Vice President for Community Lending at Wells Fargo. Leslie heads a team of over 180 people nationwide focused on affordable housing in support of Wells Fargo's commitment to economic development and job creation. Wells Fargo is not only the equity investor and construction lender for Anchor Place, but also many other Century Housing developments. Wells Fargo has invested over $120 million in tax credit equity to create or preserve over 600 apartments for the benefit of Century's residents across numerous developments. Although these numbers are impressive, success illustrated through facts and figures is limiting because they do not illustrate the intangibles. These facts do not show you the creativity of Wells Fargo team members like Paul Buckland, Kevin Welsh, Ken Sofchi, or Norma Dominguez. These facts do not show you why we trust Wells Fargo to do the right thing when faced with a difficult situation. Allow me to share a story. This story takes us back to the 2016 presidential election. Wells Fargo and Century Housing were in the midst of a negotiation on a particular deal leading up to the election. Once the results of the election were determined, the perceived value of tax credits dropped significantly overnight. This result sent a shockwave through the entire affordable housing industry. Our deal was in a very vulnerable position. In that moment, Wells Fargo had the leverage to renegotiate and change pricing and terms. Instead, Wells Fargo made the decision to continue the negotiation in good faith, even though the outcome was not as favorable as possible from the bank's perspective. From Century's perspective, Wells Fargo's cooperation allowed for the vision of the project to move forward as planned. Wells Fargo's decision was not specific just to our deal, but all affordable housing deals that they were a part of across the country. This tough decision was made by Leslie and her team. You see, trust between partners is either built or broken when things go wrong. Time and again, Leslie has won our trust because she continues to make the decision to do the right thing during uncertain times. Rest assured, Wells Fargo is a trusted partner of Century Housing. And on a different note, as we were negotiating Anchor Place, we really thought it'd be amazing if we can go ahead and bring the actual logo of Wells Fargo to life. And we asked Paul and their team if they can actually just bring that stagecoach and the horses over to the campus. And he said, I don't know, we gotta see what we can do about it. And finally, they actually brought it. So if you guys would like to take a ride in the stagecoach, please do so. So please help me welcome Leslie Milovich.
Thank you so much, Sean. That's a story that I don't think a lot of people in this country hear about because, as Sean said, we really just try to focus on doing the right thing. One of the things that we really place high value on is investing in the communities in which we operate. And one of the most profound ways that we can do it is to invest in affordable housing. So I'm very lucky to be the head of the group that does that for the bank. We are the largest affordable housing investor in the United States and have been for the past 8 years. We not only provide the equity, but we provide the debt. But as it seems to be very thematic here today about partnership, right? We're really just part of the orchestra. I really view Brian and his team, Century Housing, as the conductor of the orchestra. We could not make this music without a leader. And so while we can provide the capital, we can't make it become this building without his leadership and the partnership that he leads with all of you. It's such a critical thing to be able to pull together the private and the public sectors and piece together all of the services, the capital, all of the dimensions to make something like this a reality. And then ultimately, it's all about individuals like you who have done so much for the United States. And we're really so proud to be a part of this kind of a project, not just here in Long Beach, but wherever Wells Fargo operates. And so I want to say congratulations to the team, to all of the partners here today for helping make this a reality. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming to the stage Mike Flad, council member for the California Strategic Growth Council. Mr. Flad also serves as city manager for the city of Southgate. The California Strategic Growth Council brings together state agencies and departments to coordinate activities that support sustainable communities, emphasizing social equality and environmental stewardship. One of the Strategic Growth Council's key initiatives is the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program, or ASIC as we call it, which provides funding for dense infill affordable housing projects like Anchor Place and related infrastructure that reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The program is administered by our friends at the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Anchor Place was a recipient of $2.4 million in funds from ASIC's initial program round, and the funds were used to improve River Avenue, which you all crossed as you came over here, and to provide infrastructure that would allow for Long Beach Transit buses to enter and drive through our campus. With the ASIC funds, we were able to improve the streets, the sidewalks, add new landscaping, crosswalks, and just make the campus viable for bus transit, which is very exciting for us. Thanks to the ASIC funds and to our friends at HCD, the CVC community now has its own transit stop that will serve our nearly 1,500 residents starting early next year. Please help me welcome Mike Flad.
You're almost done. One more speech from a guy in a suit, and then one more speech here from Linda. He covered pretty much everything I wanted to say, so thank you very much for having me. It's a real privilege, honor, as everyone else has stated, to be here. Today I'm representing the state of California as your member on the Strategic Growth Council. I was appointed by the Speaker of the Assembly, Anthony Rendon, so I am your community rep, so I look forward to getting to know some of you and talk to some of you. The Strategic Growth Council is a source of state funding. It's cap and trade, so those of you that wonder where do those cap and trade dollars go, they go to projects just like this, and the Strategic Growth Council has a few other programs that I know many of the fellow bureaucrats in the audience are well aware of. In my day job, I serve as a city manager. I'm city manager of the city of Southgate, so there's a little jealousy tinge here. We don't have anything like this in the city of Southgate, so as I walked around, I was just truly blown away. I think the folks that I met 3 veterans as I was walking around. They all were named Ed, which seems odd to me. Actually, I met 4. I met Ed, and Rocco. Rocco was a dog, but the sense of community that you have created here is unbelievable. It is an absolute privilege to just consider ourselves as a part of the Strategic Growth Council as being a part of this. When you build a house, it's one thing. You build a home, that's something else altogether. But you build a community that, like you have done here, it is unbelievable. The word, I tried to come up, I know this isn't the word you'll use on your brochures, but this place is ridiculous. I walked around. Of course there's a deli. Of course there's a deli. Of course there's a transit hub. Of course there's counseling service. Of course there's a community garden. It's unbelievable. We pride ourselves as part of the Strategic Growth Council on connectivity. So connecting this community with the bigger community, creating the transit hub. That said, I'm not sure why anybody would ever leave. What's the point? There is a greater need, obviously, in all seriousness, to be connected. And I was happy to see the Wells Fargo Stagecoach was here. That's the initial zero-emission vehicle. So I was very glad to. Well, if you've been around them, it's near zero-emission vehicle. That's not a perfect engine for sure, but truly. Thank you very much for including us as this part of this community, and congratulations.
All right, guys, and last but not least today, I'd like to welcome to the stage Linda Mell, Construction Manager with Primus. It's no understatement to say that Linda Mell is one of our most trusted and beloved partners in the development of affordable housing. There's that word again, partners. It takes, as you guys have heard, a litany of designers, contractors, city staff, and financiers to put together affordable housing. So for us, it's absolutely invaluable to have a partner like Linda who can provide us with that peace of mind that the hardest leg of developing one of these projects, the actual construction piece, is under control when Linda is on the job. And it should come as no surprise, really. Construction management is Linda's second career, having started her career as an engineer in the aerospace industry, designing systems much more complex than our humble wood and concrete homes that we build here. So Linda brings a level of passion and meticulousness to her job that is really second to none, and we couldn't be more proud to consider her among our team. So please help me welcome Linda Mell.
I'm just going to leave it there. I walk tall. That was an extravagant introduction. It's wonderful to be here. It's a privilege to be not only the construction manager, but also the owner's representative for the CVC campus. There's a lot to represent here, as you can see. And I wanted to just share with you 3 examples of the unique challenges of building on this site. It's a highly occupied, dense campus with a lot of infrastructure and inborn issues here. And just kind of tell you, and also for those of you who invested, what we did with your money. So first of all, and it's been mentioned already, the infrastructure is a challenge. And we literally have still crumbling roads, crumbling pipes, and when things get to that level of dilapidation, it becomes difficult even to remove them. And so people have mentioned the housing, the old Navy housing that was here that was dilapidated. Those buildings, there was 3 acres of it. This is a 3-acre site. There were 24 townhomes and a half dozen one-story things I think were officers' quarters back in the day. They were in such bad shape that it was too dangerous for the demolition workers to go inside and abate the asbestos and lead before you knock down the building. That would be the order you would normally do things in. And so our demolition contractor North Star had to devise a unique method to take down the building carefully with those hazardous materials in place. And then our environmental monitor, Alta Environmental, who is based here in Long Beach, had to monitor the perimeter of the whole site, test the soil for a bunch of stuff that was beyond what it was normal, and it all worked out very well. But that's the kind of thing that happens when infrastructure really gets to that point. The second thing that I want to share with you is the hardest part of construction on this site and probably this corner of Long Beach, West Long Beach. It's everything that goes on under the ground. You don't know you're looking at this. There was a whole show before we even got to that. So first of all, we're in a liquefaction zone, and what that means is that about 25 feet below us is a layer of soil that our soils engineer described as wet peanut butter. It's like the natural kind you have to mix. That kind? Literally, that's what it looks like. And you can't build on that because that would liquefy in an earthquake and the building would slide. So underneath this building, as well as Cabrillo Gateway and other large structures, there are 1,300 stone columns that go over 30 feet down. They're this big around, there's a lot of loads of gravel, and that's just what you needed to be able to lay the foundation. And so that was a lot of time and a lot of money. We have a high water table here. We're at about 10 feet above sea level right now. The water's about 4 feet below you, and it rises and falls with the tide. It's an amazing thing to watch, and because it's intertidal here. And so anytime we put a shovel in the ground, it's a mess. It was very hard to build the new roads for the transit. It's a challenge that we work through, and as a team, we've learned to take care of these things. We have a stormwater issue in this part of the city. As you know, this part of the city flooded. It was on the news. It flooded so badly, and that's because the water is already saturating the ground. There's no place for it to go. The storm drain system on Pacific Coast Highway is at capacity, and so when we design, we try to get some bigger pipes in, as big as we can go, because we can't go very deep in this water. Some of the planters you'll see are depressed, and we're finding ways, hidey holes, to put the water, but fundamentally it's an issue. And then there was the discussion of the old infrastructure. Our civil engineers have been working on a master utility plan because a lot of the old stuff you don't know where it is. So just documenting it and putting it on paper is a thing. And so I wanted to give a shout out to our civil engineers. Brian already did it, but KPFF, who's based here in Long Beach, Jose Hernandez, Casey Rosil, and Melissa Hasselback, they've been Johnny on the spot for us, I can't tell you how many times. And also our soils engineers and technicians from Geotechnologies, Mike Kazanuvi, Stan Tang, and the field technicians who spent months out here with us. And the third thing that I wanted to share with you is the third challenge, which is accommodating the needs of all the residents and the services here on campus while we are disrupting their lives with this massive undertaking. Thousands upon thousands of construction trucks came onto campus. If you notice, there's only one legal entrance to this site, that gate that you drove in. Our neighbors, the Cal State Long Beach Tech Park, allowed us to use this River Avenue as a construction and exit. We don't have privilege to drive in and out of there regularly. And so there was a lot of work on the part of the contractor to keep pedestrians safe, moving fences day and night. We had an all-day power outage because we undergrounded the electrical. We got rid of telephone poles. The entire campus went without power and without phones. I mean, we have people on oxygen here. There are healthcare facilities and daycare facilities and food programs, and so it takes a tremendous amount of coordination with the staff here at CVC, particularly Steve Coleman, Executive Director, Brett Morales, Property Manager, and Kim and all the services. The most unique accommodation we made, and I want to share the story with you because it's a beautiful story, is we relocated the American Indians' Changing Spirits Sweat Lodge grounds, which are sacred grounds. That spiritual healing is part of their recovery program. And so how do you relocate sacred grounds? They used to be, by the way, right here. This was it. They are now there. with the lovely trees. And so we listened to them. We sat down with the leaders of the program, Raul Garcia and Cheryl McKnight and Jimmy Castillo, under the shade of that tree right there, and they told us what they needed in order for that to work for them. And what they said, it was wonderful, is that the process, the ceremony to take down the old one and build a new one had to take place in one day. And so they burned down the old sweat lodge, they keep that fire lit. They go to the San Bernardino Mountains and collect the willow to build the new one. And then they use the fire from the old one to light the fire of the new one. It's a beautiful ceremony. And the day they chose to do this was the first day of spring in 2015, which is great. I mean, there's just like this cosmic wonderfulness to that. Of course, it was already mid-January at that point, and we're like, okay, well, we didn't really know what they needed or wanted, and I would like to say that design came together kind of organically, and we just sort of, we got it done, and it was wonderful. But it is an example of the kinds of things that are challenging but also very fulfilling and enriching about doing construction on this site, because you end up helping people in ways you never anticipated it. And so I wanted to give a thanks to our construction team and to our design team. First of all, Walton Construction, they are the ones who built all of this. They're the ones who dug in the muck and the mire and kept us on schedule in the middle of a very wet winter. Yes, they did that. And they helped us with the power delay, the power of things, and the relocating of the sacred grounds. They even rescued kittens out of the wall. They got in a wall. And so they're one of the good guys. They are committed to the mission of affordable housing. It is what they do. They are honest and open and very fair, and they don't walk around with their hand out. Sometimes they reach into their pocket and help out. We're very grateful to their leadership, President Tom Gibson, his partner Lee Jackson, our project managers Blake Jackson and Dave Parker, who was on site full-time, 2 superintendents, Richard Jones for the building, Duster Gervat, who took care of everything else that Brian threw at him, all the other things. We've renovated the social hall. He had all things going on. And also, at the end of the project, they provide a superintendent who's the closer, who takes care of those little details and sticks with us through the warranty period. That's Jason Bush. I know he's here today. Thank you, Walton team. Very much appreciated. And finally, our design team, which is led by Richard Prentice of the Architects Collective. We'll get back to him in a moment. He was assisted by his colleague Fabiola Esquivel. The structural engineer is David Choi and Associates, also based here in Long Beach. And you've got to go on the guided tour. You have to see the structure they made. The views up there from the 4th and 5th floor. You can see the whole Long Beach skyline. We've been watching the bridge being built from the roof over here. The mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers, S.Y. Lee and Associates, and thank you to Sodal Ryang for his help with the undergrounding of the Edison work, our electrical engineer. And finally, Richard Prentice. It's hard to put into words just how right Richard is for this campus. It's not just that he's an excellent architect and that he works very well with the team and so forth. Those things are true. But he has embraced the soul of this campus. And what we are experiencing today is the vision he presented to us 6 years ago when he interviewed, that we're not just going to build buildings in isolation, we're going to connect the community, we're going to provide amenities that the people need and want. And it is beautiful. Thank you, Richard. And now he and Brian are, exactly. And now he and Brian are master planning for moving northward with the same kind of thing. And we're going to take a pause in construction for a while, but I'm looking forward to getting the team back together again and continuing this good work. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. In closing, I just want to say thank you to all of the wonderful residents and employees of Century Villages, especially for having put up with us, our noise and our dust for the last nearly 2 years as construction happened here on Anchor Place and bearing with us. We're very thankful to you. Thank you to our property management, resident services, team team members, and a special thank you to the folks that helped bring this event together, especially Andrea and Bartek, who worked diligently on today's event. And a big thank you to the people who are playing an ongoing role in the lease-up and management of Anchor Place, including Brett, Sabellis, the one and only Donna Ferrero, leading the charge with the lease-up, and everyone around them and on their team. We're very grateful for all of your support. Following our ceremony today, we're going to have a ribbon cutting on our at the west end of the property. If you guys want to walk down to the west end of the fire lane, we're going to have a ribbon cutting for all of those that joined us up here on stage. If you would join us for that photo op. We also have lunch available for all of our guests. So also at the community room at the very west end of the property, you all are more than welcome to stick around and have lunch with us today. And also want to bring up that our architect, which Linda mentioned, Richard Prandis and his team at the Architects Collective are doing some site tours, and it's a really special property, as you guys have already taken in. So if you have a moment, I would encourage you all to go ahead and take a walk with them. They'll be gathering folks over near where we are all having lunch for a walk of the site. So with that, on behalf of the entire Century organization, I want to thank everyone who's here today for your presence and for your continued support. We have a lot of great plans in the years ahead, both for here, our CVC campus and beyond, and we're looking forward very much to your continued partnership. So thank you.